So for the dress form, after they finish making all of the inside part of the dress form, then they'll come back and they're going to put this muslin on top. Now they're able to sew the center front seam, the princess panels, the shoulder panels, but the one thing they can't sew is this side seam here. Eventually what happens is they put everything on and they start hand sewing the side seam all the way down. What you're going to notice on different dress forms is the side seam gets a little bit wobbly. If you look closely here at the stitching on the side seam, you can see where I have the black tape going perfectly straight up and down, but that side seam is just a little bit wobbly. It might not even quite line up perfectly here to the shoulder. Also, some things that happen is you might notice on mine that the shoulder seam here did not match up with the armhole plate screw point as well as this side seam here. So I eventually took some tape and made it match. Basically what I had to do was I started down here at the side seam and I held some tape up, and then I looked across the room at something like the door, and I was able to get this perfectly straight up and down going right across the screw point here. And then I found the correct shoulder location. Also what I did was I went ahead and I did a draft for this, and then I checked the balance of the draft, the armhole, and I noticed that the shoulder seam was still having some issues, and I was able to just move it a little bit more forward and then come back and make sure everything was totally squared up. So the pattern draft that you're going to do with me, if you follow my exact measurements, basically what you'll do is you'll get a perfect draft on the very first time. Eventually though, when you start doing custom drafts for people, yourself, or a dress form, you will find that you might have a few issues up here in the shoulder seam and also having the side seam not quite balanced. And I'm going to show you how to correct that later during the video series. Something else that you'll notice is I have these small squares of paper on here. What that is at one point we need to have a measurement right here along this armhole ridge. And so I tape on a piece of paper here to show beginners how to find this armhole ridge. Basically once that's taped on there, you can start pinching along this armhole ridge, and when you get down to this paper, you'll put a crease right inside of there. And then I've even put a little bit of some blue color pencil on there so it's easy to see that. So I've done that here as well as up on the top, and then of course on the back armhole ridge.